flew in to Atlantic City this afternoon. Got here about 1 o'clock. And his trainer, James Mullen, says, we got to take out Wilson in the first 4 rounds. Right now, it's Wilson starting off quickly.
Well, neither of these fighters will have to look for each other. They are both very aggressive, as we can see already in the first round. And if there's a difference, some people think it is that Calvin may hit a little bit harder. And since they are both going to get hit in this fight, and both will be banging away, you have to think that would give him some edge. Kato Wilson takes a good punch, and he's very aggressive.
Chris Calvin, a man who has fought some tough opponents. Good right hand got in there. Had a draw in November with Edwin Curette up in Boston. Oh, good solid right hand by Calvin. Another one and a third. Calvin with power in both hands. Looking to win this one in the first round. Kato Wilson taking some good shots. Finally ties him up.
Well, this is what Chris Calvin does well. He knows big right hand bombs, and I tell you, he's got some good combination punching as we see. He puts his punches together.
Calvin's draw against Edwin Curette injured the top of his right hand, laid off until June 28th, where in Merrillville, Indiana, he knocked out Antoine Lark, not a very well-known fighter, but it was just good for Calvin to get back in the ring. And now he's starting to get himself on the road back to where he was several months ago. They feel that it'll take another 3 fights for him to be back at top form. Again, that straight right by Calvin. Good power by Chris Calvin.
A fighter like Kato Wilson, who comes forward, is about the same height as Calvin, is really a good opponent for Chris Calvin. When he has troubles, when he faces some of the good boxers, he faced Robin Blake, lost to him in 10 rounds. The Curette fight, the draw, kind of a mystery, really, because Curette's style would seem to be made to order for Calvin. I guess some people wonder about that decision up in Boston. Feel maybe Curette got the benefit of the doubt in his hometown. Calvin puncher, make no mistake about it. And he has hit Kato Wilson with some real bombs in this first round. Kato's still there.
Last September in Nashville, we were down there and saw Calvin take out Anthony Murray in a hurry. Murray was a real good-looking prospect, and Calvin demolished him. Final seconds of the first round, scheduled for 10, but a lot of big bombs dropping in the first round, so don't go away. You're watching Top Rank Boxing from Atlantic City.
Hit him with both lefts and rights.
Started with that right hand and followed it up nicely with that double left hook. Calvin's got power in both hands. Now, we mentioned that he drew with Curette, and he lost a split decision to Robin Blake. Those two men, Blake and Curette, will be meeting on ESPN a week from Thursday in Miami Beach. And Chris Calvin says, I want either one in a rematch. I want them both.
And so it goes in boxing. Calvin landed a couple of right hands in that first round, the likes of which he used to knock out Anthony Murray. But Kato didn't go down.
Calvin is using his hand speed to beat Wilson to the punch. Good sharp jab and that straight right again.
It's a misnomer to think that Calvin is just a brawler. He's got boxing skills, and he's got a good jab, he's got a good right, and he is picking apart Kato Wilson right now.
He's looking a lot sharper than he did in Merrillville, Indiana. We watched the fight did not make air that night against the lesser opponent. Another solid straight right.
That one hurt Wilson.
The legs wobbled a little bit on Kato Wilson.
And you see Kato Wilson, he just keeps coming forward. He does not know how to go backwards and box and ride things out. Never has done that in his career, and so because of that, he's walking right into the storm again.
Kato Wilson, 26 years old, a 3-year pro. Last fight was in April when he defeated Cesar Guzman, April 13th at Madison Square Garden Spelt Forum, won the decision. The man has been slowed down with some management problems. He's been under new management for the last year and a half. Calvin keeps dropping that right hand in there. Half a minute to go in round 2. And Chris Calvin, who wants the knockout early because he's a little tired from working late last night and flying in this morning, would like to put Kato Wilson away, but Kato keeps staying there. Final seconds of the second round, scheduled for 10 lightweights, Kato Wilson and Chris Calvin.
get in. Tough round for Kato.
Kato Wilson comes charging in and starts crowding Chris Calvin. That's a good move.
And this is what I really think they wanted him to do. Get on top of Calvin, smother his punching power. That's really where his best hopes, I think, are in this fight.
And Donald Hayes told him to stay busy, to keep throwing punches. Kato Wilson from Brooklyn coming in with a record of 13-6-1, 6 knockouts. He's faced some good opponents in his career, including Kenny Bang Bang Wagner, Charlie White Lightning Brown. Was stopped on cuts in the fight against Brown, and that Wagner fight we had a look at. A tough battle. Check Al's scoreboard. He's going to flip on the switch.
Well, I think that Kato Wilson has an uphill struggle. He is down 2-0, and I can't imagine anybody giving him either of those first 2 rounds.
Not even me.
Not even you. Now, in this round, as we said, he's been getting inside on Calvin, but Calvin's starting to work a little better now at long range.
Calvin trains in Mount Julep, Tennessee. That's outside of Nashville. And if there's one thing he hasn't had all that much of, it's sparring. But right now it isn't showing because he's throwing well.
But you're right. That's a problem for him. Getting real good sparring in that area is not easy. And sometimes that does affect him, but he's looking sharp here.
Yeah.
He really is. Now, as you said, because of the work and traveling in your late, will he burn out a little bit as this fight goes on? That's not his history, but could happen because of those other factors.
Well, as we said, he went 10 with Curette, but he did have the long layoff. His last fight was 3 rounds. And could be a question of stamina if Wilson hangs in there with him.
Kato comes in off a win over Cesar Guzman in 8th at the Felt Forum in New York. Before that, he went all the way to South Africa to fight Chris Whiteboy in Cape Town. Kato has taken a few less of those big shots because he's cut down the distance between himself and Calvin, but that one got through, and there's a cut now under the left eye of Kato Wilson.
Bad cut under the left eye of Kato Wilson. Half a minute to go in round 3. Kato taking a lot of punishment. Those combinations by Calvin keep landing. Wilson is holding on. Late in the 3rd round as Tony Orlando checks that cut under the left eye. Big right hand again by Calvin.
You know, Calvin knocks people out when he throws those kind of rights.
The end of round 3. And this fight is all over. The doctors came into the ring, checked the eye of Kato Wilson. Look at that cut. He had been taking a lot of punishment. This fight has been stopped. And another excellent performance for Chris Calvin as he, as we mentioned, gets his career back on track. 2 wins in a row in a span of 3 weeks. He's a very happy young man, and the crowd really saluted him with a tremendous ovation when it was announced that the fight was over. And Chris